Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to go over the answers to the expressions quiz. I do have to warn you that I am in school today and we will probably be interrupted by some announcements from the principal. Hopefully not, but we'll see what happens. So for the first 6 questions or instructions, say write an expression to represent each given situation. So as we talked about before, we want to move from left to right and pay attention to any of those reversals. So when I'm looking at number 1, I see the sum of 8 and twice a number. The sum tells me I want to do addition, and that addition is going to take the place of the and word. And then I'm going to translate everything else. 8 would be the number 8. And twice a number. Twice means 2 times a number. We're going to pick a variable for that number. Let's make it x. So when we put it all together, it's 8 plus 2x. Or we could have had 2x plus 8. Again, if you switch the position of the x and the 2, that would have been okay as well. Technically, though, the coefficient, the 2, should come before the variable x. All right, on to number 2. 5 subtracted from 6 times a number. Subtracted from is one of those reversals where we know we have to switch positions. So that means my minus 5 has to go at the very end of the sentence. And then when I take a look at the rest of this, 6 times a number means I'm going to multiply 6 times our variable x. So when I put it together, we have 6x minus 5. All right, number 3. I'm hoping if you guys got these correct and you're just unsure about, let's say, maybe number 10 or something, you could fast forward the video straight down to number 10. Number 3, the quotient of m and 7 added to 10. So we're going to go in order from left to right. Quotient tells me we want to do division, and that's going to take the place of the word and. So I'm going to put that division sign in there. We'll keep everything in order. So m is going to be first, 7 comes after the division sign, and then we're going to add 10 to it. Or we could have written this m divided by 7 in fraction form, added to 10, and that plus 10 could be at the beginning or at the end, either way. So I'll rewrite it both ways. 10 plus m over 7, or m over 7 plus 10. Number 4, a number tripled and then decreased by 8. So number tripled means I want to multiply it by 3. So I'm going to have 3 times x, and then decreased, that's subtraction, by 8. And you can get rid of that dot there that shows multiplication and just write 3x minus 8. Again, I mentioned you could have the x and the 3 switch positions. It's not proper form. This would be proper form where we have the coefficient before the variable. But technically, mathematically, this is also correct. Number 5. 15 less than the product of C and D. Less than is one of those reversals, so I know we're going to be subtracting 15 from the very end. So I'm going to put that at the back. And then the product of C and D means I want to multiply C and D together. So when I put it together, we'd have CD, or C dot D, minus 15. Number 6. The difference of K and 4, comma, multiplied by 9. So difference means we're going to put subtraction where the word and is. So we have K minus 4. Since we have a comma here, that means after I found the difference, then we're going to multiply that by 4. So that means I have to have my subtraction inside parentheses to show that that happens first. And then we can put multiplied by 9 at the end or in front of the parentheses as well. And on to number 7. You went bowling with some friends last weekend. Each person rented shoes that cost $4.25 and played one game that cost $6.50. You all shared a large pizza that cost $18. Write an expression to represent the cost of the activity for P people. So each person rented shoes, and that cost $4.25. We're going to multiply 425 times the number of people. That tells us how much they all paid for their rented shoes. And they each played one game, so I'm going to add to that cost of the game times the number of people. And then they shared the pizza. They didn't each buy a pizza, so I'm going to add $18 in at the end. We're not multiplying it by the number of people because, again, each person did not buy a large pizza. They shared it. Another way you could have written this, you could have added the cost of the shoes and their game together in parentheses. So that's the total cost of what each one paid for shoes and game. Multiplied that by the number of people, and then added your $18 pizza to it. Number 8. You and your friends went out to eat last night and the bill came to $120. Luckily, someone brought a coupon for $20 off. You decided to split the bill evenly. Write an expression to represent how much each person would pay if P represents the number of people. So we're going to start with our total bill of $120. We're going to subtract the $20 off coupon. I'm putting that inside parentheses because that's going to represent the new cost of the bill. Then after we've subtracted the coupon, we're going to split it between those people. So that means we're going to divide it by the number of people. You could have also written this in fraction form. 120 minus 20 in the numerator over P. And in the numerator, you could put this in parentheses or keep the parentheses off because the fraction bar implies we have to do this subtraction first before I can divide by P. All right, on to simplifying with order of operations. Order of operations, the only operations I see here are multiplying and dividing. Those have to happen from left to right. So we are going to do 16 divided by 2 first, which is 8, and then 8 times 8, which is 64. Same for number 9, multiplying and dividing here, we're going to work from left to right. So multiplication is on the left first. We'll do that operation first. 80 divided by 4, which is 20. On to number 10. We have addition and subtraction only. We're moving from left to right on this one as well. So 25 plus 8 is 33. And then 33 minus 12 would give us 21. On to the back. Number 11. Again, only addition and subtraction here, so we're going to move from left to right. 32 minus 12 is 20. And 20 plus 10 is 30. For our next one, number 12, we have everything here, parentheses, exponent, dividing, multiplying, subtracting, and adding. So, we're interrupted with an announcement here, sorry.
Mr. Nash, please call 1291, Mr. Nash.
Okay, so we're going to take care of the parentheses first. Once inside, that's 12 divided by 3, which is 4. I'm going to write every operation, the whole line down to make sure I put everything in order here and it's organized. Next, we're going to take care of the exponent. 4 to the second power means 4 times 4, that's 16. And again, I'm bringing everything down. Now we're left with subtracting, dividing, adding, and multiplication. Next step would be to do the multiplying and dividing from left to right. So this division is on the left. It's the first one that needs to happen. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. And next would be the multiplication before we do the addition and subtraction. 5 times 4 is 20. From here we're left with adding and subtracting. Subtracting is on the left first, so we'll do that. 16 minus 4 is 12. And then 12 plus 20 is 32. Number 13. We don't have any parentheses or exponents. I see multiplying, subtracting, and dividing. Multiplying is on the left first compared to the division, so we'll do this first. 110 minus 12 divided by 3. This division has to happen before the subtraction, so 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 110 minus 4 is 106. All right, on to number 14 here. Substitution and then simplify. So A has a value of 5. The 5 and the A are being multiplied together, so it really means 5 times 5, which is 25. Number 15. B has a value of 10. 2 is being multiplied with B, so 2 times 10, and 8 times 1/2. We're going to simplify both multiplications first. So 2 times 10 is 20. And then 8 times 1/2 is 4. So we have 20 plus 4, which is 24. And then b to the c power, that's 10 to the 4th power, which means 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. This would be 100. 10 times 10 is 100. And this 10 times 10 is 100. And then we have 100 times 100, which is 10,000. Number 17, A, B, D. A times B times D. So that's 5 times 10 times 1/2. So 5 times 10, which is 50. And 50 times 1/2, which is 25. Number 18, 4 times A times B. So that's 4 times 5 times 10 minus C is 4, so 4 to the 2nd power plus B, which is 10. So we're going to simplify our exponent first. 4 times 4, or 4 to the 2nd power, that's 16. And bring everything else down. I'm going to do all this multiplication at the same time. 4 times 5 is 20, and 20 times 10 is 200. So we have 200 minus 16 plus 10. Again, the subtraction is on the left. It's going to happen first. So that's 184. And 184 plus 10 is 194. All right, on to the bonus questions. I did go through the quizzes. A lot of us were confused about these. We saw these so long ago. So write an equation for the following. For every 2 apples, there are 12 oranges. I'm going to go back to making a ratio table to compare apples and oranges and see if we can see a pattern. Right, so 2 apples, 12 oranges, 4 apples, 24 oranges, 6 apples, 36 oranges, 8 apples, 48 oranges, and so on. So what do I notice as I'm looking from the apples to the oranges? Each time I notice I'm multiplying by 6. 8 times 6 is 48, 6 times 6 is 36, 4 times 6 is 24, and 2 times 6 is 12. So let's define some variables. We'll say let A equal number of apples. And I don't want to pick O because O looks like 0. So let's say R, maybe you pick J. Let R equal the number of oranges. So we're going to multiply the number of apples times 6 to equal the number of oranges. So 6A equals R. Or if you noticed in the reverse direction, the oranges divided by 6 would give you the number of apples. So you could have R divided by 6 equals A, or R over 6 equals A. Notice I didn't use the multiplication sign up here. Remember, if I'm using X, it looks like a variable. So we want to avoid that, and a number and a letter next to each other mean multiplication. All right, let's go on to B, because B was a little trickier. So pairs, I'm going to say P equals the number of pears, and C equals the number of cherries. And again, I'm going to make a ratio table for it. So 4 and 3, 8 and 6, 12 and 9. I notice there's no whole number that I can multiply or divide the pears or cherries by to make the other one. So I want to make one side equal to the other. Right, if I multiply the cherries by 4, that makes 12. If I multiply the pears times 3, that also makes 12. If I bring that pattern down, 6 times 4 for the cherries gives 24, and 3 times 8 for the pears also gives 24. 9 times 4 for the cherries gives 36, and 12 times 3 gives 36 for the pears. So I notice every time I multiply the cherries by 4 and the pears by 3, right, all this on this side, then one side is equal to the other. So one equation could be 3P equals 4C. Some variations to this, if we do 3/4 times the number of pears, that would give us the number of cherries. 3/4 times 4 would give us 3. Or 4/3 times the number of cherries equals the number of pears. If I multiply 4/3 and 3, that's going to give us the number of pears here. All right, we'll take questions on this tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So if you're confused or have any questions about any part of the quiz, we will talk tomorrow. Talk to you soon. Bye.